Good afternoon guys, last night the FM16 beta dropped. It was around 5 o'clock, everyone's scrambling to play it, and just like myself I got the game up and running, the graphics installed, and I did reveal about 3 days ago my first save on the beta would be with Red Bull Leipzig, a club that I enjoyed managing for 3 seasons last year, although I did lose in the playoff final 2 seasons in a row. But this season, this campaign, this football manager, I don't plan on making that a problem. We're media predicted to finish first. We are a professional status, national reputation, of course, in Germany, the second Bundesliga. The nickname is Die Bullen, or Die Roten Bullen, which means the Red Bulls, which this save is called The Rise. So basically, Die Roten Bullen, the rise of the Red Bulls. The owner states he loves the club, which is good, so we feel safe, not Mike Ashley-esque or Blackburn Rovers-like. Transfer policy is none. That's a nice little addition there. You get to know if there's any plans really, or what the club's like in terms of transfer. Finances are okay. Estimated value 60 million. Red Bull Arena is a beautiful, beautiful stadium. 44,345 all-seater. Training facilities are impressive, and more importantly, the youth facilities are great, which means hopefully regenerated players that are coming through, or new gens as they're called this time and these days, come through, they will be good. The region, of course, is Central Europe. So we're taking over Red Bull Leipzig. This is going to be my save from the FM16 beta. Of course, once I've done this one, I'm going to have a long lower league English save, which I will tell you a bit more about in the future. But for the foreseeable future, in at least a couple of months, 3-4 months even maybe, hopefully you will take interest in the Red Bull Leipzig save. And basically that's it regarding the intro, who I'm going to be. But let's get into it, guys. Let's have a look at the players at our disposal, see who we'll keep on board, see who we might look to sell, and see if we've got any decent young talent in and around the club. And then the next video I'll probably talk about tactics, and I will be ready to start the season by then. I think we will talk about pre-season, but first let's get into the players. Let's talk about who we got and if there's any superstars in the making that can guide us to the predicted first place finish and promotion to the main Bundesliga, to dice it up and battle it out with the giant powerhouses such as Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. So here we are at the manager selection now. What do you pick? It's basically, for me, no coaching badges and a Sunday League football. You want to start at the very bottom for me, and I don't think you have merited other things. Unless you have done it in real life, I guess it could be okay. You can go based on real life what you've done, but in terms of myself, Sunday League footballer, that's what I was when I played. I finished up about 5-6 years ago due to work commitment, and I don't really have any coaching badges, so I'm not going to start with any. The style focus, what do you want to do? Mental or coaching attributes? Obviously coaching pushes up the green bars and pushes down the blue bars. The other side is mental. I think I'm going to push all my style focus to the mental side of things when it comes to determination, player knowledge, youngster knowledge, man management, basically talking and motivating players, because the coaching attributes, the more success you have, they should probably be easier to push up rather than the mental attributes. And I'm someone that usually doesn't attend all press conferences, but of course it's a new game, so for the future I definitely will be. But that's what we're going to do just now, guys. We're going to go with no coaching badges, Sunday League footballer experience, and our style focus is tactical manager, because when it comes to football manager, I absolutely love talking about tactics. So here we have it, the 26-year-old Scotsman James Beattie has been employed as the Red Bull Leipzig manager. He's virtually unknown in the football world, so he's going to have a tough task at the Red Bull Arena, replacing the ever impressive and the statistical and attribute impressive Ralf Rangnick. So let's crack on, see what we got. Before we move on to the squad, we will have a look at the messages inside. So we got personal message from the chairman, Florian Müller. He's welcomed you to the club. He's given you a contract till 2016 on £14,750 per week. Of course, if you do get to renew your contract, take the lower, because you're only taking money at the club and you can't actually do anything with it. Your assistant manager, Achim Bierlorzer, is responsible for offloading players that you'll place on the unwanted list. And the head of youth development, Thomas Albeck, will look to loan out players on the development list. But we will go to managerial responsibilities. We'll sort that out, and I will probably not let them do that. I'll see for myself. And I'll basically give them other instructions if need be. So we will attend the meeting, I will attend it, and then we'll come back and we will look at the squad, guys, okay? Hello James, welcome to Die Rotten Bulen. Sorry, I keep saying rotten just because of the Red Bulls. I'd like to take a few minutes of your time to welcome you to the club before handing you over to your assistant manager, who is looking to discuss staff responsibilities with you. Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Assistant Manager, I will take control of that myself. I also want to assure that you've got the full backing of the board, and we wouldn't have hired you if you didn't feel you were the right man. So we've got one option to select. Great, let's get started. Rasenballsport Leipzig, also known as Red Bull Leipzig, might be a young club at heart, but I can send you an interview of our history into the inbox if you'd like. I think if it helps, the manager shows an interest in the club they represent. Go on then, Florian, or sorry, Mr. Muller, send me that file, let me see what the club is like. Sounds like a great idea. As mentioned in your welcome message to the club, there's no philosophies which the board will judge you on your time at the club. Would you like to arrange a meeting to suggest philosophies you're passionate about for the board to consider? No chance. If you suggest philosophies with the board that they haven't suggested to you, you could be hanging yourself. If you don't live up to them or you don't meet them, you've basically hung yourself. So absolutely no chance. I don't feel a meeting was required because I've got no philosophies to hold. It's traditional to hold a press conference when signing a new manager. Would you like us to do it? Well, yes, do it, because I believe somebody in the community, can't remember who it was, it might have been Dr. Benji, he didn't actually attend it or something along those lines and he got sacked straight away. So yes, we're not taking the risk. We will meet the journalist and we will tell him about Mr. Beattie, who is in town to take Germany by storm. Thank you for answering my questions. I'll hand the meeting over to your assistant manager who's got a few things to talk about. Okay, well, you're listening to me, Mr. Assistant Manager. I'm the gaffer. Right, thank you for the introduction and I hope a long, successful career at Red Bull Leipzig, which is true. Hi James, it's Akim Bierlorzer, your assistant manager. I've got some questions for you regarding running the day-to-day club of the team. I've written a report. Would you like me to send it to you? Go on in, Mr. Akim, send me over, let me see what we've got. Would you like me to arrange a meeting with the rest of your staff to discuss the current state of your club and provide any relevant advice? Yes, please, tell me everything I need to know about the club. I can provide you with regular reports with input from your backroom staff. Good idea. Fortnightly basis, that's good enough for me. Would you like help with any of these tasks? Not just now, because I'll look at them in depth in a second and we will have a look. That concludes the meeting. Oh, but we can make some board requests. So what do we want to make first? Always increase the transfer revenue. So when you basically bring players in or sell players, you will get more of that money. Come on, Mr. Bossman. Yes. After initially turning down my response, Mr. Muller has given me more transfer revenue. Networking. We will look for a senior affiliate, but I'm sure we've already got some affiliates, of course. Red Bull Salzburg, New York Red Bulls, I believe. And we want some extra income, so yes, that is not a problem regarding the affiliated club. So, Red Bull transfer update. Omar Damari is on loan at Red Bull Salzburg. That is the only loan out of the club, so I'm pretty pleased with that. Injury update. Terence Boyd, he's a striker. I used him last year. Injured for 2 to 4 months. That's a bit of a better blow to start this already, but I'm sure we'll survive. Subscriptions. A background at Rasenballsport Leipzig. Of course, they're a new club, so there's not much happening there. And here is one of our best players, Marcel Sabitzer. He is pretty damn good because he was good on last year's game. Meet the staff, which I will do in a second. Scouting team welcome you to Red Bull Leipzig. They recommend you signed Mensur Mujzika. Osman Hadzikic, I know, is a very good goalkeeper, so we will add to shortlist. And the other one is Yorick Ravi, a winger, it believes. Transfer revenue increase, search for senior affiliate is ongoing. We'll go straight to the board. We'll see what they say. So the budget stretches to just under 5 million and we've got £250,000 wage budget to play with. So guys, let's go straight into the squad and see what we have got. Some of these players I will have used last year, we'll quickly fire through them. Okay, Fabio Cortolte, 34 years old, he's got pretty decent attributes, probably more doomed to experience than anything else. His current ability is 2.5 star, he will not be improving more than that. And this little coach summary up here is pretty cool. 4 pros, 2 cons, so it really tells you before you actually look if they've got any bad points and how many they do. So that's the goalkeeper. He will be fighting it out with another couple of goalkeepers, I believe. A former Liverpool one, but we'll get to him soon. Marvin Comper, experienced 30-year-old defender, 1 cap for Germany. Of course came from Fiorentina. Probably I'd guess and say our best defender because he looks pretty comfortable and he's got a decent pace of 14 at the age of 30. Omar Damare, valued at 5 million. But he's on loan at Red Bull Salzburg, so we will not be using him, which is a real shame considering his composure, concentration, finishing, pace and acceleration are absolutely deadly. For 26, he could be an absolute monster for me. So, next season we'll see you, Mr. Damare, and you will be involved, trust me, unless we're promoted and we need bigger and better ammunition. Diego Demi, 23 years old, defensive midfielder, a ball winner. Determination 16, that immediately caught my eye. Bravery 16, aggression 17, tackling 14, marking 14, which tells me this guy really could be the real deal. 23 year old is a good age to be going into first team football, and for me he looks good. Current ability 3 star, 3.5 star potential, I believe that is from the coach summary. Next up, Emil Forsberg. I believe he must have recently signed for Red Bull Leipzig, or I sold him very quickly last year because I don't actually remember coming across him. 4 star current ability, 4 star potential, 5.5 million value, which is pretty good. He's a 15 cap Swedish international. So yeah, Emil Forsberg looks like a real key player in my team this season. He's got very solid attributes. So we'll move on to next. It's Peter Galacci, the ex-Liverpool goalkeeper that I don't actually think ever played a game for the club. If he did, it must have been 1 or 2 at most. He's okay, he's 3.5 star potential. He's 25, so I've got the choice to either throw him in, make him first choice, or he's going to be a very frustrated 25-year-old backup. He probably looks a little better overall, I would say, so he's possibly going to be first choice. But, of course, my scout recommended Osman Hadzikic, and I might look to bring in a goalkeeper. But I haven't checked the squad as a whole to see which positions I currently need more than others. Next up is Marcel Halstenberg. Looks like a real solid player. Age 23, he is a left back. And everybody knows I love my left backs, or right backs in that matter as well. Bombing forward, great crossing, great dribbling, pace, stamina. That's what I really like. Now his crossing's 15, his dribbling's okay at 11, pace 16, acceleration 13, and his stamina's 14. So he's really going to be an up and down, almost like a box to box set midfielder, but at left back, if you know what I mean. He's just going to go up, down all day long. He looks pretty impressive. 3.5 star potential. He's got 8 pros, 1 cons, so I'm pretty happy with him. He could be a very key part of the player, playing in that preferred and best role of his, the complete wing back. Stefan Heyerlander, 24-year-old centre midfielder. A quick glance at him, he looks nothing better than a backup. He doesn't look too great. Might be one of the ones I'll try to offload for around £1 million what he's valued at. Stefan Ilsanker, 26-year-old defensive midfielder. Now he looks pretty good, but in the position he's going to have a lot of competition. As you can see, the graph here is full for ball winning midfielder. He's got 3.5 star current ability, 3.5 star potential, 6 pros, 1 cons, 3.4 million on 10,000, just over under £11,000 per week, and he's a full cap for Austria, so he looks pretty good, and I'm sure he's a new player to the club. Anthony Young, another left back. He's going to be competing with the one we just showed you, but it's going to be tough to see who actually plays because this guy is fantastic. He's an absolute machine. Again, pace 16, stamina 16, corners 14, crossing 14. His dribbling, we'll try to improve that, but he looks excellent. And that 16 for long throws, we will try to exploit that Rory Delap-like corner and throw-in exploit from that area of the pitch. Dominic Kaiser next. I believe he's a very important player in terms of the actual club itself in real life, and he does look pretty good. Looks solid, 26-year-old, a centre midfielder, and he looks really good. Valued at 3.1 million. Zolt Kalmar, another one that you kind of look at and you think he's good, but you could get better. But he's only 20 years old and he is a full Hungarian international. So the next one we'll look at is a certain Sami Khedira's brother, Rani Khedira. He's the real, genuine rock of the team. He's kind of like the glue that sticks everything together. Granted, not every attribute or every area of his game, in particular his technicals, they don't look brilliant, but he is somebody that really is a top quality professional. A ball-winning midfielder, he sits deep, he just does not often advance forward beyond the opposite team's half, and he's really, really rock solid. If you're in the Premier League, bottom half of the table, something like that, he's going to be a real purchase for you. Kind of, just like his brother, Sami Khedira, he plays in that holding role, but obviously not as good as him. But at this standard, he's going to be a top quality player. Next up, we'll go to a very talented youngster. And this year, they have him playing wing back when, in my opinion, just like last year, he's quite similar attribute-wise to last year, Lucas Klosterman. I like to play him at centre-half. The reason for that is because, well, he does have attributes for a full-back or whatever. He's got the stamina, he's got the pace. But look at the other attributes for a centre-half he's got. He's got aggression, bravery, determination. His concentration could be improved. He's got good teamwork, good work rate, tackling 13, marking 13, heading 13. He's got great pace if you want to play him centre-half. Strength, 13. His acceleration is good as well. Jumping reach, 15. For me, I'm not playing him fullback or limited fullback, as it says his best role is the full graph down on the left underneath the pitch area. For me, 19 years old, I can play him centre half and I can make him one of the best around. Top quality potential player there is Lucas Klosterman. A new signing for Red Bull Leipzig this year is Willie Orban. He is looking pretty damn good, if I must say. Again, look at some of the attributes he's got for his limited defender. Heading, marking, tackling, determination, positioning, jumping reach, strength, even 13 pace. I think anything above 13 is not bad for a centre-half's pace, because you don't often find them very nippy. But for me, he looks a top-class player, and for sure, he's going to be a regular starter. Next up is Yusuf Poulsen. Now, last year I sold him. I thought he was decent, but he wasn't as good as others around, and it came back to bite me because I sold him to a team, I think it was maybe Karlsruhe, and they came back to bite me, and he came back to score and haunt me a few times. But this time I'm going to keep him around, because other than his finishing, he looks a real good player, but his best role in the team is a defensive forward. So if we can just get that finishing up, I reckon he could be a decent player. Someone that I've never used before, Niles Quajner. A new signing to Red Bull Leipzig, I believe. He's got 13 finishing, which is pretty decent. Again, a defensive forward. Pace is 16, which is good. His concentration is 12. Composure 11, we could do with them going up a bit. Determination 14, that will help that cause. But he looks a decent striker. Now, this is the player that my assistant manager says is the best player in the team, and he is good. Marcel Sabitzer. 4-star current ability, 4-star potential, 10 pros, 3 cons, valued at £7 million. And believe it or not, £4,000 or £5,000 less than a lot of average players, considering he's supposed to be our best player. Plays as a winger, and he's got all the tools in the box for me to be a good, solid player. Whether he can take it to the next stage, I don't know, because the long-term plan is to become a European powerhouse and hopefully one day compete and even overtake the mighty Bayern Munich. Bit of a long-term player, this one, Tim Sebastian. He's probably going to get moved on or kept on just as covering backup. He's only on less than £3,000 per week, valued 300k, but he's not great. He's okay. I reckon if he had those attributes when he's about 25, you'd look and think, yeah, I can work with him. The next one I'm going to show you is the guy on the cover of the thumbnail that I've done for this save on YouTube, on Facebook, Twitter. It's the guy that I'm really almost revolving the save around. Kind of like playing as Newcastle to make Adam Campbell become an absolute world-class player back when he was at the club. or starting somewhere and signing a youngster and making the play be around him and making him quality. So I'd like to introduce you to Davy Selke, the number 27, 20 years old, and a German player. 4.6 million valued on £20,000 per week, 3.5 current, 4-star potential, and he looked absolute dynamite, honestly. Dribbling, decent. Finishing, decent. First touch, not too bad. Mental attributes, some pretty good. His aggression is a bit too much for me, actually. Anticipation is good. Bravery is good. Composure and concentration are decent. Determination is good. His work rate is really good, and his physicals are excellent. He's got 18 for pace, which is really going to help. And he's got a bit of strength, 13 on him as well. So this guy is somebody I'm really, really looking forward to using, and I cannot wait to get stuck in and see him banging in the goals. Now, the next one is a right back. Plays as an inverted wing back. It'll be interesting to see if that works, because a lot of people didn't believe it did on FM15, so we'll see. He's got decent physical attributes, but other than that, he's probably a rotational player at best. He is 24, so he's not exactly one of the youngers now. He was there last year, decent rotational player. The next one is Atink Nukan. A new player to me, never seen him before. His technical's obviously not the greatest because he is a central defender. The rest of his attributes are decent, but he doesn't look anything phenomenal. His physicals are really good. He's probably going to be cover. I believe he's a new signing, so it's going to be difficult to shift him even if I wanted to. The next player is Terence Boyd. It's a shame he's out for 2 to 4 months. He is a decent player. Quite well known, actually, the American. 24 years old. And there's nothing we can really do with him until he is at least fully fit. The next one I'm going to show you, quality player. But I'm afraid he is made of glass, if anything goes by on Football Manager 2015. Massimo Bruno, former Anderlecht player, age 21, Belgian under 21 cap, 2.9 million value, 10.75k wages per week, 3.5 of potential and current, 7 pros, 2 cons. He's definitely a winger, but he can play in behind the striker if that's the type of formation you want to play. But we haven't yet settled on a formation, but we'll get into more of that in the next episode. So he looks very good, especially technically, he looks fantastic. So that is the signing, that is the squad, guys, of the first team play. And we'll have a look at the under-19s. We'll basically have a look at the assistant manager's recommendations, if you like. And we'll get the star attributes up and we'll see who's decent. So some of these might be okay. 17-year-old Kamil Wachkowski, he looks actually okay. I've seen a lot worse. Frank Albeck, nothing much, nothing doing there, and not much there. Some pretty poor ones, if we're being honest, but that first guy looks pretty decent. The next guy, he looks not bad as well. Age 17, got 13 finishing, so we would take that, definitely. And we will look at Red Bull 2, just to check if there's any decent ones in there that we can show you. And it doesn't actually show you the star attributes, it didn't come up, so I'll have to alter the top bar there and get that to show. But yeah, this is the Red Bull B, so I will have a look through these teams and see how we get on. Okay guys, so what we've done, we have basically showed you the squad, met the squad, got the introduction on the way, and next episode I'm going to bring you soon is going to be pre-season will have been played. We will talk about the tactics and if I've changed anything during the course of pre-season, and of course we will introduce you to new signings if there is any. We'll talk about the transfers who have let go, and we'll talk about what the plans are for the season, what the aims and goals are for the future of this save. Thanks for checking it out, guys. Give the video a like. If you haven't subbed, please do. It's really helping me. I've got a good few subs recently. We're approaching 500, I think. We're about 440, so we're not far away from 500, but that would be a good milestone, considering I've been doing Football Manager videos for around 9 months now. So I'm pleased with that. Thanks for checking it out, guys, and I'll be back again with the Red Bull Leipzig save, the rise of Die Rotten Buren.